In this short video, I'd like to make a quick note about protocols and devices and how they map to the models. Remember that protocols were designed first, and then the models were designed to talk about the general steps that are followed when communication takes place. So they're not really the same thing. Now, there are some protocols and some devices that clearly sit at one or another of the layers, but then there are some that are a little iffy. Let's take a look here. I've called up the Wikipedia article on a list of network protocols. And down here in layer 2, you notice that we have, for example, PPTP, point-to-point tunneling protocol, in layer 2. But now let's look at another reference over here, Techopedia, and says, well, layer 5 is where PPTP exists. Okay, which is it? Let's look at another example. Up here in layer 1, I've got a number of layer 1 protocols, and yet this guy over here says, well, layer 1 doesn't even have any protocols in it. And so there are some disconnects here in, well, what layers do different protocols exist in? And you'll notice different authors have different ideas about that. So be careful. There are some that are very, very clear. For example, let's go back to this one. For example, IP version 4 and IP version 6 are very, very clearly network layer protocols. TCP and UDP are very clearly transport layer protocols. These are application layer protocols. There's no doubt about that. So there are some cases where it's very, very clear, but there are many other cases where you've just kind of fit them into where they appear to be best, and different people have different ideas. Now, a similar problem exists in hardware. And I don't have a slide for this, but in the case of hardware, we know, for example, that a hub and a wire and a repeater all exist at layer 1, the physical layer. Switches very clearly fit into layer 2, although there are also what we call layer 3 switches that have some layer 3 capability. Routers very clearly fit into the network layer. But what about, say, a firewall? Where does a firewall fit? Well, it all depends. Firewalls can filter by MAC address, and so they'd be at a layer 2 in that case. They can filter by IP address, so they'd be a layer 3. They can filter by application, so that they'd be at layer 7. So they can exist at multiple layers depending on how they're being used. In fact, they could fit into multiple layers all at the same time. So again, with devices, there are some very clear ones. Hubs, routers, switches. Hubs, routers, switches. Physical data link network. Excuse me, I said that backwards. Hubs, switches, routers. Physical data link network. No question about those, with the exception of those layer 3 switches. The rest, it kind of depends on what they do and when they're doing it. All right, that's enough on that mapping difficulty.